giving my daughter some food.
And we're live. The
We're
fighting
live.
news.
The
Good.
fighting
What's
news
up?
is
What's
live.
up? What's up? What's up?
Are we live?
This is
What's
Steve
going on
Ruffman
out
with
there?
the fighting news. Here
All
with
right, you do the
my
introduction
co-hosts, Matt, wearing a nice, what does that say? Cobra Kai shirt?
Cobra Kai, man.
Cobra
Vintage.
Kai. For all you
19.
younger 21-year-olds, you're not going to know what that means.
Of course they are. It's on
Yeah, they
Netflix.
do.
It's on
They know?
Netflix, man. It's
They
the hottest
know?
series.
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. And the #1 photographer in the world. His photos are so good. We got people copying them left and right,
Stealing them.
stealing them like crazy, pretending they're theirs.
Right. My phone's ringing off the hook. Where's that Gerardo guy? Get me in
Gerardo
touch with Gerardo. Whose photos by Gerardo?
Ramos. What's up? What's up, Gerardo?
Hey, how you guys doing?
So,
We're doing okay.
So what we got talking about today? We're talking about Mike's coming on later. He wants to talk about boxing and the controversies.
Okay, #1. Don't worry, we got this. #1, turn this thing sideways so it's me, Gerardo, like friggin' sideways. Too much going. There we go. That's nice.
That's better.
All right, yeah, we need a better close-up of
That's better.
yours.
There you go. Gerardo
All right.
looks better in the middle.
He looks better in the middle.
Yeah.
Gerardo's the middle child.
Oh, I feel nice between you guys.
Yeah, don't get too cozy there. Yeah. So anyway, we want to talk about #1, what we all did over the weekend, because we were all over the globe. But before we talk about us being all over the globe, I also want to give some shout outs. All right. Now, shout out #1 is to Justin Sims. Man, this guy was at Bare Knuckle. Was he at Bare Knuckle with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was at Bare Knuckle. Then I saw him up in Orlando at the Undisputed Promotions fight. And then the next morning, he was going to shoot a photo shoot with Lex McMahon on the beach. And that came out. I was eating breakfast, and I saw his posts. He had been to Orlando and down to Delray Beach. 3 shows, 3 gigs, 1 weekend. Gerardo, you know what that's like, man. That's a tough life, but he's all over the place. And
was Lex up there at Undisputed Promotions?
No, he was not. But you know who was there? Was our friend Shamara Woods, who we had interviewed at the WBA night of Future Champions.
Yes.
And she was sitting. I'm like, is that Shamara Woods? She was sitting about 2 feet away from me. So I got a quick picture with her. I didn't get a chance to interview her because there was a lot going on. Our friend Xander Zayas was up there. We got an interview with him coming out. The one with Logan Holler is already up there.
He was at Bare Knuckle also.
He was at Bare Knuckle also, yeah.
Yeah, Xander was, right? Yeah, I saw pictures of him there. And Aaron Aponte was also there as well. So it's always great, seeing those guys and talking about the fights with them, because they're good fighters and they're up and comers. And
we got Mikey Mike. Shout out to Mikey Mike Feinberg, the man with the myth of Mikey Mike, the man of legends of viral videos, right there. The man,
yes,
Michael Feinberg.
Okay. Also, just talking about Undisputed Promotions, we also saw our friends from Box Lab Management were there. All right, Eric and Amari apparently works up there now. They're going to have a whole string of boxing events at that hotel, the Caribe Royale in Orlando. It was a beautiful place. It was a beautiful room. The promoter, Anthony Arvello, was a great guy. He put on a...
Hi, Lily.
Hey, Lily. Put on a good show. It was
Hi,
organized. Yeah, so we look forward to attending more of those events. That was great.
It really looked nice, man. The venue up there looked great. Everything looked clean, organized. I was impressed. It looked really good, man. I'm happy you were able to make it up there, man.
Yeah, so was I. And Logan Holler, she was a co-main event. She fought an 8-rounder. It was coming off her layoff of over a year or whatever, and she was pretty well matched. She was well matched with her opponent, but she decisively won every single round. You know,
How far did the fight go?
it went the distance. She won a decision,
Okay.
and I think it was 59-55 on all the cards. You know, maybe one card was a little different, but it was you know, it was a good fight for her, and she'll keep growing and hopefully keep, you know, stay in the local area so we can see her, we can cover her.
Cool.
Yep, and that was Undisputed Promotions. They had the title, the headline event didn't go the way of the guy that they thought was going to win.
Oh,
so there's a little shake up there. But
how long has that promotion been around?
He's relatively new, and you know, it's in the Orlando area, and there were a lot of guys that were making their pro debuts, and that's his thing because he's worked with the guys in the amateurs, the promoters. So he wanted to give them their first, you know, pro show, and that's what he did. It seemed like a lot of the opponents came, you know, they had boxing records, but it seems like a couple of them had like MMA backgrounds, which is interesting because it's a different game, and they, you know, their stance is a little off, and their punches, their combinations are a little off, but they're tough guys, you know. And there were one or two fights there that stood out in particular. I'm like, this guy's he's got to be an MMA guy. He's got to be an MMA. And I saw there was a large group from Combat Club up there as well, all wearing Combat Clubs. No, Combat Club.
Oh, really? Combat
Club? Yeah, they're all wearing Combat Club. And Rashad Evans was in the house.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know,
picture him. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but now you mentioned Combat Night. Mitch from Combat Night was there as well, sitting ringside with his family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, bare knuckle. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we saw him, and there was a few other people. I went with Carolina Duer, and it's always a pleasure to watch fights with the world champion, who knows exactly what's going on every step of the way.
Insight. Yeah.
Yep. Great insight, and a great cook as well. I should put some of those pictures up here. So shout out to Carolina.
You get an interview with Rashad?
No, I didn't see. I saw him briefly, and I didn't see him for the rest of the night. So no, we weren't there for Rashad. We were there for the fighters. Okay. I also wanted to touch on something that Heather Hardy put on her Instagram about female boxing. I don't know if you saw it, Mike, if you follow her on Instagram, but it was interesting because Eddie Hearn had a card with 3 female fights. Of course, the headline was Katie Taylor, right? Right. And then, but there was it was a title fight with Rachel Ball, and she's ranked number 6, right? And she was going to fight the girl, Ebony something or other, was ranked number 7, but she didn't make weight or whatever, so they got a replacement for her. And it's a title fight. A title fight with the girl who's ranked number 6 versus girl who's ranked below that. The girl who's ranked number 1, the WBA, is our friend Maureen Shea. Girl who's ranked number 2 is Rosalinda Rodriguez, who's also based in Miami. She trains with Ada Velez. Where are they? Where are they? Why aren't they fighting for the title? All right. And Heather Hardy was upset because, you know, everyone's like, Eddie Hearn put on an event that had featured 3 female fights, and it was great and all that. But it's really still not great because the girls that really deserve the title shots are not getting them, number 1. I don't know what the purses are, but I'm sure the purses aren't where they should be as well. So, Eddie, you know, you might be moving in the right direction, but there are still some fans out there that think a lot more should be done. All right, you're the promoter. There's other promoters out there. These women are marketable. They're great fighters. They put on shows. They're there to fight. They train as hard as any of the men. So get on that, please.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
Right. I'm going to leave some of the language out that Heather Hardy put in her post. You know, we don't know if I saw Gerardo's daughter was in the background, so I'm not going to.
Well,
I'll keep this.
She went upstairs now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep this PG. But basically, she actually compared it to an abusive relationship, where you keep going back for more and more and more, and you keep getting promised things, and you know that never come through, and that's the world of female boxing.
That's tough, man.
Yes. But Mike, you had something that you wanted to talk about as well. Let's hear it.
Yeah, you know, I thought this was just a little interesting, you know, from my perspective anyway. You know, there was a big fight, a top-ranked card fight that was on Saturday night. The headliner, of course, was Terrence Crawford, so our #1 pound for pound. He pretty much stands alone at the top of the pound for pound now that Vasily Lomachenko lost his fight a couple of weeks ago. So Terrence Crawford, haven't seen him in action for quite some time. He got to take on Kell Brook, which is the former IBF welterweight champ. But, you know, a great fighter in his own right. The only losses he's ever taken were one to Errol Spence. And that's after he dropped back down 2 weight classes to 147. And the fight prior to that, which was when he stepped up to middleweight to fight Triple G, which is just too big of a guy for him to fight. So other than that, man's undefeated, you know, beating the likes of Sean Porter and taking that belt. So definitely a good test. A lot of people didn't realize who Crawford was fighting. They thought it was going to be a pushover fight. It wasn't. Crawford did exactly what he should have done. Brook actually looks like he won the first 3 rounds of that fight. But Crawford's always a slow starter, so it's not really a surprise there. Once he kind of clicked into that whole Bud Crawford mode, he took over, and that was it. I mean, I took a couple of notes on the fight itself, and I just said that, you know, Brook threw some shots. He hung in there. Actually, he boxed pretty well, and it looked like he even hurt Crawford, you know, some of those early rounds. But Crawford being Crawford, knockdown came in that 4th round. And he came from an orthodox stance, first of all. It was an overhand right. He wobbled him. And then at that point, Brook was being held up by the ropes. And then Crawford came back and landed 2 good left hooks and a right hook from the southpaw stance. He actually switched up the stance and threw 2 power shots from each hand. It's just the way he is. This is dominant pound for pound best. So great stoppage for him. Great win. And even the likes of Spence, who, like I said, beat Brook. He took him out in the 11th round, if I'm not mistaken. And Crawford was able to dispatch him in the 4th and looked much better in doing so. So we all want to see, you know, what Crawford can do in that division. But politics being politics, it's like you were talking about, Matt, where are these other women? Why aren't they ranked up there? Why are they not fighting for belts? It's also freaking political, you know.
You want to take a look at those highlights?
If you have them, yeah, put them up.
Yeah, but right, Mike, we'll get back to what you were saying in a minute.
Yeah.
About the females.
Yeah, see, you're backing up a little? Yeah. You see how he wobbled him? He got that knockdown. The ropes were basically holding him up. You can see that he's standing in the southpaw stance now. Once he puts him back on the ropes, that's it. He starts to destroy him. They have to step in and stop the fight. But it was just the power shots that came in. Overhand right to knock him down. Overhand left to put him away.
He didn't wobble him. He knocked him clear across the ring.
Yeah, and again, this is a guy who doesn't get knocked out. This is a guy who, you know, those 2 fights that he lost.
Courtesy of Top Rank. Thanks for the video.
Yeah, I have to mention.
Got to give credit where credit is due.
The 2 losses that he did take, each of those fights, he broke an orbital bone. Probably wasn't feeling too hot after those shots, you know? So this is a guy that, you know, he'll stand in there and go to war with you. He's a great fighter. You know, it was mentioned over and over. Probably he's the best, well, it really is the best welterweight in all of Great Britain. You know, probably one of the best fighters that they have overseas. And here he came, and this is what happened to him. But Crawford's just that good. So, yeah, the politics, Matt, we were just saying. So you got a WBO champion. You know, WBO champs pretty much run through Top Rank. They're all Top Rank guys. And they don't want to take on PBC guys or Golden Boy guys. They don't want to do it. And same thing with the females. They're going to have that same political nonsense. You know, you just can't get them to cross over and do it. And it's unfortunate for a guy.
But like they didn't. In this case, they didn't have to cross over because they were all ranked by the same organization. So, you know, Maureen was ranked #1. Rosalinda's #2. And these girls were like 6 and 7. You know. Well, the 7 dropped out, and they had this replacement. I don't even know if she was ranked at all. But it was a one-sided fight. Rachel's taller, a little bit quicker. But in terms of as a fighter, she's not in the same league. She's not in the same league as Maureen. Just
Right.
is not. There are levels, and she's not on the same level.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ring Rentals of South Florida, who did rings in Miami, death matches in Tampa, Undisputed Promotions in Orlando, and PFL in Miami. That's Israel. One hell of a freaking works his ass off for all the fight fans. What's up, Israel?
Rated PG, and Steve's over there running his house. Israel, I didn't know you did the one in Orlando, man.
That's what's up.
Were you there? Well, I didn't see him there anyway. All right. So,
yeah.
We want to talk about that. What else happened that night, which is sort of the point of what we were talking about. I wanted to mention Crawford because I think he deserved the credit, but it was a 2-fight card. So the first fight, a lot more interesting than the second one, and that mainly is because Israel said no. In case you didn't see that.
Yeah, I see the feed here.
So you got Andrew Maloney, and Matt, you know who this guy is because I know you watched that fight just like I did a few months ago, just as the bubble began. At Top Rank doing that, Andrew Maloney and his brother, they both came over from Australia. They both were undefeated. They both were, on their way up. And Andrew Maloney fought a guy named Joshua Franco, and in upset fashion, Joshua Franco pulled out that win. Great fight. It was probably one of the best fights that happened in the bubble. And so here was the rematch. This is what this was. A few months in the making. Here's Andrew Maloney coming back, looking even better than he did in the first fight. He comes through. He beats this guy down for 2 rounds. Throws jab, 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 jab. At this point, Franco's eye shut. His right eye was completely shut by the end of the second round. It was almost there by the end of the first. Point is, ref jumps in, says, okay, this guy, he can't see anymore. We're going to stop the fight. Doctor said, that's it. Ref said it was by a headbutt. Now, Steve, if you have that footage, please put that up. Because there's no headbutt. There was no headbutt. That was just great jabbing. Great jabbing. And that should have determined the winner of the fight. But instead, the wrong man walked home with the belt that night, and that shouldn't have been the case. So Maloney should have gotten his belts back, didn't get them. Franco walked back out with the belt. They called it a no decision. Wasn't a no decision. It should have been a TKO win for Maloney. Should have got his belts back.
Right, but then didn't they go back and they looked at the video? They looked at the replay.
That's just it. So Nevada is the only state right now that has the instant replay. What's the point of having it if you're not going to look at it right? They took 30 minutes to make this decision after the fight was over. 30 minutes. They went back. I kept saying, rewind 10 seconds, rewind 10 seconds. Let's look at it again. Let's look at it a little bit more. Let's go back and see when this guy's eye started to swell up. I know Steve's looking it up. It's obvious exactly how the swelling started. It started with a beautiful jab. It was a beautiful jab, landed right there. You can see the guy wince. You can see him step back, and almost instantly the swelling began. Within 5 minutes, it was all ballooned up. He couldn't see anything out of that eye. But the only time their heads even looked like they came close was on the other side, their other side of the face. So there was nothing that could have potentially touched his face other than a punch, a jab, or even a thumb. But a thumb is attached to the glove. It's considered part of the punch. I know you can't put thumbs in the eyes without gloves in MMA, but in boxing, it's part of the glove. It's taped up. It's inside the glove. If you hit him with a thumb, it's the same thing as hitting with the back knuckle, pinky, whatever. A jab is a jab. A punch is a punch. And that should have been a win for Maloney. He celebrated. He thought the fight was stopped, and he won by TKO. You can hear him scream, if we can find the footage.
Yeah, did they show a potential headbutt?
They look back, and they try to show everything that they possibly could. And the only time you see the heads coming close was on the opposite side of the face. There was nothing anywhere near.
And was it in that round, or was it in an earlier round?
Well, it looked like it happened in the first. Well, clearly it was in the first round because by the end of the first round, you can start to see some swelling. In the beginning of the second round, they even had a doctor take a quick look at it just to see if he could still see. They determined he could still see, and then they let the second round go on. By the end of the second round, it was over. I mean, there was no way he could see. The whole thing was completely shut. So you know what happened in the first round. No point even looking at the second round. All you're going to see the second round is more jabs going at the eye that potentially could have swelled it up more. But the initial swelling that began happened in that first round. So all they're looking at is a total of 3 minutes of tape. And even in the beginning of those 3 minutes, there weren't any punches thrown for a little while. There's not much to look at. They spent 30 minutes looking at less than 3 minutes of tape. And in the end, still determined, they're just going to go ahead and go with what the ref said and say it was a headbutt and call it a no decision. That was not a no decision. So somebody got robbed of their belt. But what's worse is they did it with instant replay. How the hell do you have instant replay, look it over again and again and again for 30 minutes and still not see a headbutt and call it a headbutt?
Right.
It's a title shot. It's a title fight. This guy should have walked home with his belts. He should have got his belts back. He would have been off to, much bigger fights. Now, essentially, they're probably going to have a third trilogy fight so they can determine this whole thing. But, Maloney trained and did nothing but train for this fight. That's all he did. So now you're saying he's got to, cut his family, cut everybody out of his life again, and just with blinders on, go right.
Here's the video.
There's the shot. That's actually the jab right there. That's the one that we all pretty much determined probably began that swelling, because you don't see any swelling in his eye before that. You can see him wince. You can see him pull back. Probably even did some damage to something.
Right. There was no headbutt. Maybe there, but his head's on the other side of his face.
The other side. You got the crew right there. You see all these guys. You got Robert Bird sitting there.
Bob.
J80. There's Bob Arum.
Bob Arum saying, "What the hell?"
But you got these good refs over there like Robert Bird.
Say, guys, get out of here.
What the hell is going on?
Okay, so here's my question: why is Bob Arum there? Why is he allowed to be within earshot of the commission of the ref? Why is he allowed to be there?
Yes, he actually wasn't. So if you looked at the whole thing, and I know we don't have 30 minutes of this stuff, Bob Arum stuck around too long. One of the refs, I don't know who he was, he waved him off. He told him, "Go away, get out of here. You can't be here." You actually see him.
Exactly.
So he did do that. But Bob Arum was actually pissed off. It wasn't something, they didn't get the result Bob Arum wanted. Bob Arum wanted Maloney to win this fight. That was what he wanted. This is one of his prize fighters. He wants to bring the twins up. He wants to make a lot of money off these guys. He's ready to put Maloney in the ring with, a much bigger name. He just got to get his belt back to do that.
Right, but if he's at anywhere near that decision or anywhere near them looking at the tape, that's a big conflict of interest right there.
You would think so. And I'm one who likes to talk about stuff anyway, so I'll just throw this out there. Robert Bird, I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's always been a good ref, but I think you know who his wife is. So there's always controversy somewhere going on, within these fights. Adelaide Bird obviously had the 6-month suspension for whatever she did during that Triple G Canelo Alvarez fight, but she's back and with the commission again. And
why is she back? They can't. Nobody else wants the job. You know what I mean?
I don't get it. I don't get it. And here's another proven factor. Look, Jay Nady's a great ref. I'm sure Robert Bird, he's very he's a stand-up guy. These guys are a lot older. They've been around the game a long time. Jay Nady, you see him going over there, squinting, trying to see exactly what he's trying to see. I mean, these guys are into their 70s, even older. You got to get some fresh perspective. People who have just recently been trained that know the real rules. Especially if you try to teach old dogs new tricks. This replay thing is brand new. You're teaching these guys who've never done it before, probably don't know how to click the buttons. You're trying to get them to make the decisions here. For who? Why is there not? Now there's going to be replay. You need to have replay officials, not in-ring referees sitting ringside that are going to try to make the decisions on behalf of their partner who they've been working with 50 years, who's in the ring, who said headbutt.
Okay.
Right.
They go, well, whatever he said. Whatever he said, I'm going to say the same.
You know what they need to do, Mike? They need to drain the swamp. They need to drain the swamp. That's what they need to do. They need to get rid of, all the refs, all the judges that have been involved in these things, and there's got to be people out there that are capable of doing this job.
Right.
That won't give the impression of impropriety when these things come up.
Right.
That's my take on it.
The whole summary of that fight, again, is that, the commission got it wrong. Andrew Maloney should have his belts. It's unfortunate. These are things we've talked about in the background before, that because of a commission, because of a referee, because of somebody saying something or doing something wrong, stopping the fight prematurely. It changes the whole landscape for a fighter.
Exactly.
Multi-millions of dollars this person could end up making in their career.
Right. And you think about the journey where they come from and how, how long they've been at it, how hard they train, all the sacrifices they make, and their livelihoods are in the hands of some of these people that make the same mistakes over and over and over again and get away with it.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. Andrew Maloney's not going to jump on a plane and go home in Australia. I mean, he's going to have to stay here and wait for the body to turn around and say, okay, we're going to have that quick rematch, that trilogy fight. Hopefully they get that done sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Depending. I mean, if Franco's eye actually has some real damage behind that swelling, though, that might be a little longer. But other than that, there's no reason to wait. Let's get this fight back together again. Let's put on a really big card. I'm sure Top Rank will have it on one of their, upcoming big fight cards again. Put it as a co-main event. Let's just see what happens. But what happens if Franco wins? Because that night, he wasn't going to win. I mean, based on what Andrew Maloney was able to do within the first 2 rounds of that fight, it looked like he was a man on a mission. It looks like he wasn't going to take no for an answer. He was walking home with his belts.
Right.
But now, the third fight, now Franco has
the advantage
of knowing what Maloney was going to do from the onset. It puts Maloney at a disadvantage. And it's not a fight he should have again. Yeah,
I mean, you're right in that sense. It's all, but they know each other. They fought before. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it somewhat. But each fight is different. Right? Each day is different, and we'll see what the third one brings. But you're right. They can't. They can't do that. They can't stop a fight because it's not going the promoter's way.
Right.
That's just all there is to it.
So, like you said, we had coverage everywhere. When you say you saw Israel over here, Israel over there, Israel,
No, Justin's like, the fighting news is everywhere. Yeah, but we're more than one people. Justin's one guy.
I know. I'm saying we. It's funny that we saw everyone also.
Yeah. You can't be in 2 places at once unless you're Justin Sims. That's just the way it is.
Yes, sir. So he's got a busy week coming up. He has Lex McMahon fighting, 49-year-old gentleman fighting in Dominican Republic for Force. Making his pro debut at 49.
Correct. And he's doing it for charity. He's doing it to raise money for PTSD and
yes,
for
a hero charity, a hero. Yes. So kudos to him stepping in the ring, and he basically said, all these people always ask me, when he's making matches, and have you ever stepped in the ring? And he's like, no, and he always wanted to. So, 49, he's gonna step in the ring. So he's gonna have his have some fun. He looks really good. He's lost like 40 pounds. He's looking lean and trim and really mean.
Yeah, well, we wish him the best of luck, man. He's a great guy. He's great for the sport. Titan FC is a great promotion, and definitely best of luck to him. That's going to be a great event. We'll catch it. We'll catch it on UFC Fight Pass.
Yes. And then also we covered BKFC this past weekend, which was a historic event. History was made twice, not only once, but twice. So, yes, let me tell you, Matt. So, to start off, the first history made, a gentleman that we interviewed about 2 weeks ago, Jake Brutal Boswick, fought Tyler Vogel, and after the 5th round, they're like, it's going to be a draw. You guys want to go an extra round? Yeah. And
wait, time out. Is that what happened? Did they ask both sides, do you want to go another round to break the draw? Is that what they did? They decided.
Okay, so according to a bunch of people, it was in the contract that if it's undecided, do you want it to be a draw, yes or no? And they say no. No one wants a draw. So they go a 6th round, which has never happened before in bare knuckle. It's either knockout or stoppage or whatever. It does, most of the time, and there's a decisive winner after 5 rounds. This one, after 5 rounds, after 10 minutes, there was no decisive winner. So, like in the contract, there was a 6th round, which made history for the first bare knuckle fighting championship 6th round.
How much time went by between the end of the 5th
So
round?
that's the thing that bothered me, is because you're supposed to get a minute in between rounds. It was longer than a minute. I was like, what's going on?
They had to add up the scorecards, right? I mean, that's what I'm asking.
So,
but both sides get the same amount of time. It's not
right. It wasn't longer than a minute, and then they basically announced that we're going to have a 6th round to decide the winner. Winner take all. No draw.
So it was within a couple of minutes, though. You're saying? I mean, even then,
it was about a couple of minutes.
Oh, that's.
I was wondering what's going on.
They added up the scorecards that fast. That's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So, maybe it was 3 minutes. We're gonna find out if I watch the rematch, but I think they probably cut out the 3-minute wait time. But and then they fought again. 2 minutes left. They were both gassed. They had to catch their wind a little bit. Jake hit him. So if Jake didn't hit him and knock him down in the 2nd round, I don't think it would have went
to the 6th.
I don't think if he would have. I don't know. It was a very, very close fight. They didn't announce the score card at the end of the fight, so I couldn't tell you the other judge's scorecard. They didn't announce it. But they announced Jake Boswick as the winner.
Okay.
It was his first time fighting. He clocked him in the face a lot of times. A lot of other guys would go down. Vogel just was taking his punches. And he was a lot taller, so he was punching up.
Jake won that fight, I think, in the last 30 seconds. He had an explosive.
Yeah.
And look, it was like a soccer game, like professional soccer, where the score can go nothing for 55 minutes, and then at the end, the last 5 minutes, one team scores a goal. Yeah. That's kind of how it was. I mean, Jake just exploded at the end. He landed a couple of good shots, and any judge, that was a lasting impression, and he was the winner.
Yeah, and if you look at the clocks in the face, Jake really clocked him in the face, gave him like power shots.
Yeah, for sure.
He hit him a few good times.
Have you found out, either one of you guys, have you spoken with anyone else who was able to catch the fight and they scored it? Have you gotten anyone else's opinion on the score?
A bunch of other people said it was a very even fight.
It was a draw for sure. I mean,
the people were saying it was very close. And then so shout out to Jake. Congratulations. We want to see you again. He was holding back. You can tell they were feeling each other out for quite some time of the fight.
On phone?
Can't see.
Hey,
we know her.
Hold on. Let me see what she has to say.
In the middle of the show.
Put her on speaker.
Hey, we're on live right now. You're on speakerphone.
Oh, hi everybody.
You want to call in?
How do I call in?
I'll send you the link. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and then history was made again by another gentleman we interviewed last week, Yuli the Monster Diaz, had a record-breaking 3-second knockout, which is going viral on the internet. Okay. Ryan just said there was a 5-minute break in between the 5th round and the 6th round. Thanks, Ryan. It was a while. So Julie, the bell ring, ready, go, and boom, right hand clipped him right on the freaking jaw, solid.
Well, he threw a jab first, and then he came over.
Yeah, like a jab, and then landed. Yeah. Justin saying that they practiced it at Lex's camp in Alabama 10,000 times, saying he was going to knock him out. And believe it or not, he told people it's going to be a record breaker. He before the fight, he's like, I'm going to knock this guy out quick.
Well,
his kids were saying it.
Kids called it. He said, "You watch my dad tonight. He's gonna knock this guy out in 1 second."
Yeah, he went like this, and then 1 second. And Dana Brooke also called it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, wow, it was so exciting. He was so excited. He dove out of the rink, out of the circle. He just dove out. Landed, and then he was like, "Oh shit!" And then he went back in. But wow, it was crazy. It was crazy. World record, and then they told. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it. I'm gonna put it up. Not only was it the world record in bare knuckle fighting championship, but it was a world record in any combat knockout sports. Any combat sport. Quickest knockout.
That's what I heard. I'm trying to dig deep into the memory box there. I'm trying to figure out if it's actually true. I mean, I know it's unverified. I think it's actually correct. I think it's accurate.
He's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah,
call him up. Let's go. Bring him down, because that is that's amazing. So we have someone in backstage wanting to come on the show who was actually up with
Matt in Orlando. Get with
Matt
it.
In Orlando. All right, we're going to remove Matt and Mike, and it's just going to be, hey!
Hi! How are you guys?
What's up?
Hey, what's
going on?
I was hearing about Ulysses. I cannot believe he made the world record. That's crazy.
That is
world
crazy.
Record in all of combat sports. Fastest knockout.
It was like, what, 3 seconds?
3
seconds?
Boom.
That's crazy.
Good
job.
Night.
He deserved it. He worked so hard. He's always training.
Yep. Shout out to Yuli.
So Matt and I, we went to Orlando and we had so much fun. We saw so many great fighters trying to oh my God, it's I always love being around boxers, as you guys can tell. And these young kids were fighting for their lives, and it was nice. It was a great event. It was packed.
Yeah, it was. It was crowded. It was good.
850 people.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And
was Matt staying away from people, or was Matt actually going up to people?
No,
Caroline?
Matt stayed away from people.
Oh, okay.
I had my mask on. I'm not.
Yeah, I was the one talking to everybody. Trying to get interviews. Can we get an interview? Can we get an interview? Logan won. She did great.
Yeah.
You got to say the prodigy, not the prodigy. Prodigy from Boogie Bronx, New York.
The prodigy.
Yeah, Mike. We interviewed Josue Vargas. He was there.
Okay.
Yeah, but
yeah, he fought. He was on the undercard of the Teofimo Lopez fight.
Because during this year and the COVID times and how hard it was, well, I'm glad that boxing is back, baby. At least real life events.
That's right. Took the words out of
it
my
was
mouth
fun.
because I was.
I missed you, Mike. You weren't there.
Same thing.
Yeah, and we did some really good interviews. All right, so Caroline really came through with the interviews. And a big shout out to you. There's one up there already. As you can see, my day is very busy, but we'll get the rest out, maybe 1 or 2 tonight and then tomorrow, whatever. But it's all good. It's all good.
Well, that's what we do.
Shout out to BKFC with the BKFC Miami, BKFC 14 shirts. You had to pay $500 a ticket to get this shirt. This really hefty man had given it to me and said, "You look like you'd enjoy this shirt. You enjoy this shirt better than me." And he gave me the shirt.
Steve and I are both wearing extra large shirts these days. What do you think about that?
So that means that Matt either lost a couple pounds or Steve gained some. Which one is it?
Both. Both.
Hey, Matt.
I lost about 30, 35, and Steve gained about probably most of that.
That's what I got to say to you.
Yeah.
And I also met this incredible boxer, Carolina Dewar, who was like, she's won titles before, and she's an incredible female professional boxer.
Yes, she was an IBF champion in 2 weight classes, and she was a WBO champ also.
Yeah. She looked like she could kick my butt. I didn't want to mess with her. I was like, I'm going to be nice because she looked like just very mean, and she was super nice though. But you could definitely tell. That's what I love about these boxers. Like, they have this, like, I don't know what it is, but this mechanism where they appear to be so strong, and they really are. You have to like breathe, live, the whole boxing, intimidating spirit. And it's incredible to me because, like I said, with the Orlando's event that took place, Undisputed Promotions, all these fighters were fighting for that W, and they all did exceptionally well. I was very impressed, and like I said, I couldn't believe it was crowded. It was nice to see boxing.
BKFC was crowded as well. It was standing room only, I don't know how small it was, but it was packed out the wazoo.
Bare knuckle, but they usually are packed too.
Yeah. And it was pretty funny. A girl that fought in BKFC, her name's Britton Hart, in the 4th round TKO, Randaline Elcombe. She beat her, and then after the fight, she grabbed the mic from the commentator, and she's like, "I'm gonna make this speech nice, short, and sweet." She pointed at Paige Van Zandt. "You're fucking next." So she called out Paige Van Zandt right there. It was pretty funny.
God.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah. So Paige was like, "Yeah, I'll let that be my first fight." Gerardo, what's up, buddy? We're talking about BKFC where Britton Hart called out Paige Van Zandt.
Oh yeah. She said that was cute.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh, that was cute." And then she went in the ring and she's like, "I'll fight you." And that's actually a good fight for her.
Yeah.
For her first fight, Gerardo.
First fight.
Yeah. She doesn't want to go crazy her first fight.
She does have a lot of
the matchmakers can make it happen.
Oh yeah, they should be able to. Money talks.
Yeah. And talking about money, Gerardo. In the news today, Paulie Malignaggi said, "Congratulations, Louis Baboon, on your victory. You want to fight big names? Well, I'm big name."
Yeah, man.
So,
I saw that.
Sort of kind of calling him out. He'll come out of retirement from boxing and bare knuckle to fight for some money. So he got paid a lot of money last time to fight Artem Lobov. He got paid like, I think, $500,000.
$500,000?
I'll fight someone for
Paulie Malignaggi. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That's how much he got paid.
It was a few hundred. Yeah, it was definitely a few $100,000, man. It was at least 300,000 or 400,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and Artem
Maybe see, he said $500,000.
$500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
at least 300 or 400.
He got paid $500,000, $500,000 to fight Artem Lobov, and he broke both his hands. And I can't fathom him wanting to get back in the ring and do that again. I mean, seriously.
He's a
Wouldn't
killer.
you break both your hands for $500,000?
$500,000, sure.
maybe even 100,000.
Oh, Mike, you'll like this. Mike, you'll like this. So who can't they find a fight for in bare knuckle? A boxer.
Somebody
We
who's
interviewed
fighting-
him.
You mean somebody who's
Jim.
fighting bare knuckle can't find an opponent? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is it Artem Lobov?
No, heavyweight.
In bare knuckle, who's been fighting bare knuckle?
Hector?
Can't get an opponent. Oh, is it Hector?
Who has not fought in bare knuckle fighting
Oh.
championship
But you just
The riddle keeps changing.
that we have interviewed.
Yeah.
Shannon Briggs.
Thanks, Matt. Shannon the Cannon
Oh,
Briggs
you-
can't get a fight. They signed him. He's ready to fight, but no one wants to fight Shannon. So the other night at the fights, guess who was there?
Shannon Briggs.
No. A person that Shannon has boxed before and lost before.
Riddick Bowe.
Mike, 12 years ago,
Somebody-
Madison
somebody-
Square Garden,
A couple of years ago.
ran for governor 12 years ago.
Oh,
Shannon
you're talking
fought this
about, Jamil McCline.
Jamil McCline. I said, Jamil, how much would it take you to get in the ring and fight Shannon and Briggs in bare knuckle? What did he say?
I
He
don't
said,
think
hey, if Dave pays me $1 million, I'd fight him.
$1 million.
For $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
How would
Yeah.
that be as a good show?
That's a good number,
reasonable
right?
amount.
Right?
Is that a
Why
good
not?
show?
I mean, Shannon's in tip-top shape. You know, he was still expecting to box in the last year. Jamil hasn't fought in I don't know how many years. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. I've seen him down a couple of beers at the bar. But
Okay.
I don't
He
know.
looks good.
I'm sure he can get himself back in shape. You know, he's an
I'm
athlete.
sure he can get himself into shape. You know, that man started his professional career without an amateur career. And he got to the very, very top, Jamil McCline. So I think he's got in his mind he can probably do whatever he wants to.
Yeah.
So-
I don't care how old he is.
So that was the gossip over there at the event, and Gerardo came back on to talk bare knuckle. So while we're there, Gerardo, I mentioned a bunch of fights, history being made. Jared Grant, another person we've interviewed on the Fighting News. Wow, was that an exciting fight?
What a comeback, man.
Come back. So he a towel stoppage in round 3. But he had not got knocked down in the second, right?
I think
Or
it was the first.
Yeah,
The
the first he had gotten knocked down himself was on
Wasn't
the
it
ground.
twice?
What?
Didn't he get knocked down twice or no?
Just once, and he was laid flat on the ground.
Yeah, dude. He got up.
He got up, shook it off, and really, really ended up taking it to him. He caught a second wind and shook it off, and then literally he took it to him.
It was crazy. The towel came flying in, and as the towel was coming through the air, the dude got hit
Yeah,
and went down.
yeah.
As the towel was flying in, it was pretty crazy,
Yeah, that was a real Rocky IV moment,
right?
Throw the towel.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what they should have done in Rocky IV.
And the
Yeah.
guy didn't even stand up. The guy didn't even stand up and throw it. He just was like sitting down and throw it. What's that?
I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Lazy man.
Yeah. But so that was a great fight as well. Just literally. So I'm just going through this sheet here of the results. Another guy that we interviewed on the Fighting News show, Lorenzo Hunt, defeated Devon Green. TKO round 2.
He broke his jaw.
He broke his jaw. And 3 fights were canceled. Opponents canceled to fight Lorenzo. 3 backed out.
Now you know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's 2-0 bare knuckle, and actually 3-0 all knockouts. So that's one bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gerardo took some awesome photo shots of him. So Gerardo, who took over 1,000 pictures that night, what was your favorite shot of the night?
My favorite shot. You know what? Uli, man. Uli's fight was 3 seconds long.
And you got the knockout.
And I got the knockout. Yeah, I got the rope in the way because I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But it was there, man.
It was there. You saw my shot. I got the back part of that knocked
Did
out.
ya? Nice.
Like the back part of it. I didn't get the punch though.
3 seconds, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's how long it takes you to focus the camera,
But I mean, I've had the opportunity to photograph him in boxing and MMA.
Yeah.
And they never go out of the first round. So I told myself, you know what? I need to prepare myself for anything. So I was already ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I needed to be in order to get it. So it was cool to see. It's good to see his growth and his progression for sure.
Yeah. And then we haven't spoken about the main event yet. There's a lightweight title bout. Baboon Palomino versus Jim the Beast Allers. And, to me, the crowd was ecstatic.
My goodness.
The crowd everyone was out of their seats. There was no more tables, okay? there was no more people sitting in their seats watching a show. This brought the house up. Everyone was standing room only, standing on their chairs in the crowds, and literally going crazy for their fighter, of course. The bell rang, and to me, Palomino just went all balls out, balls to the wall,
To me, I felt that he picked his shots really well.
Yeah. Just
he picked his shots, and I think that was the only difference with that match. You know what I mean?
He caught him. He caught him and caught him.
Yeah,
quick.
Yeah, and
he
even
caught
said
him
it.
and caught him quick.
Yeah.
I mean, if you count the punches, Jim didn't even land any. I don't think.
Well, that's not true because I got some photos of him catching him. So
like one or two.
Yeah, one or two.
It was 50. It was a 50. It was a 55-second fight. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I counted. I counted him throwing 2 punches. I don't know if they landed or not. I have to watch the fight again.
For sure.
But it was over in 55 seconds. He knocked him down once. He got back up and knocked him down again. He was just had the eye of the tiger, man.
Yeah, I expected that fight to be number one, not to end in the first round. I expected that fight to go a lot longer with both of those guys.
Yeah. And everyone that I interviewed beforehand was like, "This is gonna go. It's gonna go. They're gonna brawl. It's gonna go. It's gonna go."
Which one was your fight of the night? What did you guys think was the fight of the night?
Well, first we got to mention this guy Eddie Hawk, man. This guy probably threw like 200 punches around. He was nonstop, punch after punch after punch after punch, and that was he was just a machine. Never seen anything like it. I started counting once I saw that he wasn't starting, and I counted about 160 punches in the first round, and he easily threw 50 before that.
Yeah, the only fight that went the distance was Jake's. All the rest were stoppages, right? And TKOs. The first fight, Kevin Evans, Cedric Johnson, KO, round 1. Alan Lorenzo, Fred Pierce, round 1, TKO. Lorenzo Hunt, TKO, round 2. The next fight, Eddie Hodge, Jeff Chitlins, TKO, round 2. Literally, KO, TKO, KO, TKO, TKO. Ulysses, KO. Francisco Ricci, we didn't mention that fight against Noah Vetter, TKO round 3, and then Britton Hart TKO round 4. So it almost went the distance. And then Jake's fight, co-main event, which the co-main event was supposed to be that win against Reggie Easy E Barnett, but he had to pull out because he was sick.
What comments did Reggie tell you? Because I know you guys were talking. What did he say?
So Reggie said, he goes, "I'm here. I'm getting paid. I'm here. That's why I came. I'm getting paid because I showed up to fight.
Yeah.
And Dave's paying me. Dad's at home. He ain't getting paid. He's sitting at home. Whether he didn't want to fight him or not. When someone's sick, you don't want to fight sick at all.
Yeah.
You just you need to breathe. So he couldn't breathe. So, but that. I don't know if we're going to see that fight. I asked him, "Are we still going to see that you fight that?" And he said he wants Bedford.
Yeah, well, that was the original plan.
Yeah, he said he wants Bedford.
Jared Grant gets to him first.
Yeah, everyone wants Bedford. He's been out because he's been hurt. Everyone wants Bedford, of course, because he's got the belt. So. But yeah. Like Ryan was saying, Jared's 2-0. He wants all the guys too. He's not afraid,
Yeah, he put on a good show. That fight had all the drama in the world, man. If you watched at the end of the first round, you probably thought he was going to lose the fight, but he came back and he came back strong, and that's what makes a good fight.
Matt, this was the card of the year, and what makes it really, really good is that there are only 14 fights in to this bare knuckle.
Yeah,
only 14 fights in. Okay, and the number 17th largest downloaded sports app on the Android and the Apple.
That's pretty good.
17th largest download. So, and they're growing, all they're telling people is to do is download the app. And the app, Matt, is not expensive. As you know, it's $4 a month.
I've had the app for months now.
I know. We discussed it before. It's a bargain because you're getting in and you're seeing all the shows, and that's like one pay-per-view. Dave Feldman was saying that's one pay-per-view, and you get to watch all the fights.
Matt, since you guys had to look at the broadcast, how did it look? Was it nice, clean, smooth?
Yeah, the app was good. It streamed really well. It wasn't lagging like I've seen on some other apps. That was good. The quality of the photography and all that, the angles were good. That was all good. I think they need some more filler in between the fights. Knowing what was going on in that crowd and the people that were there, and I would have liked to have seen in between the fights more shots of what was going on inside the where was it, the Intercontinental there,
Yeah.
Instead of, they showed a lot of stuff about Paige Van Zandt over and over and over again, and we all know who Paige is. We all know her, and we don't need to see her between every single fight. I would have rather seen what was going on there. I would have rather heard commentary. They seem to show some random, fights in between or highlights in between with no narration. They just show random clips from fights in the past without any kind of narration. So that's one part of their production they can work on. But let me tell you something. For the $4.99 a month, $4.99. What is that? People pay more than that for their morning coffee.
Yeah, for sure. It's
definitely a deal. But that's my only complaint. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you, Paige. I do, but I mean, it's like seeing the same commercial over and over again.
Well, Paige is well, she hasn't fought yet, but once she fights, she is the face because she's going to be the face of bare knuckle, don't you think?
Look at Yuli and look at Jake.
Well, after that knockout, Yuli for sure is.
Yes, they should promote those guys more because.
But as far as girls are concerned, she's going to be the girl of bare knuckle.
Right, and I understand it from a business point, but promote the fighters. Promote the fighters.
Yeah.
And Jared too. Jared, here's a kid. He could have gone the other direction. He could have gone into professional boxing. He's making his debut in this sport. This is what he chose. He put on 2 great shows. His first fight, he won decisively. This fight was just a comeback win, which is always exciting. And heart of the lion. That's what he really showed that he had that.
Hey Ryan, how's Ryan's hand doing? He showed. I'm asking Ryan how Jared's hand is. He said he probably was broken. If you're still listening, Ryan is Ryan Perez is his manager. If you're still listening, the question is.
Give him a minute to answer.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it depends who they promote. If Paulie Malignaggi comes back to fight Baboon, then they're going to promote Paulie again, of course, because he's a moneymaker. But what's he going to do? Come back for one fight? No, you got guys like Yuli will fight again, Jake will fight again. These guys are in it for the long run, and I think those are the guys that always need to be promoted, and they're promotable. Look at Yuli. Look at what Yuli's done. He's been everywhere. He's been on the WWE. He's been in boxing. He's been in MMA. He's been a runway model. He's on a commercial in the Super Bowl with J-Lo. He was a bodyguard for Pitbull. Come on, man. The guy can do anything, and Jake is the same way.
Yeah.
He's got the charisma. He's got the look for it. He's got the fighting style. There's no limit for these guys.
Yeah.
That's who they should be pushing. That's who they should be promoting.
I think they will. I do think the reason they're bringing in like fighters from the UFC, or bigger organizations, is because they have a bigger reach. All of us here in Florida know Uli. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're trying to get worldwide, and I think Uli does have that capability for people all around the world to know him. And if they promote him right, him and Jake, they could be really big, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and they both.
I hope they do.
Yep.
I was going to jump back into something you said earlier, Steve. So as far as Dat Nguyen is concerned, that guy, he's a professional level fighter. So he didn't fight because he was sick. It wasn't something like ducking, because I think that's the rumor that's now going around. He was not going to be ducking this guy Reggie Barnett.
Oh no, I didn't say anything about.
I didn't say that you did, but I know you.
Yeah.
Saying we assume he was sick. He said he was sick. I know other people have been saying that maybe he wasn't sick. He was sick. I mean,
he was sick.
He was sick. He would have fought when he called out Reggie Barnett. He's the one who wanted that fight. He looked for him when he couldn't get that belt for Bedford, and so we would like to see him back. We'd like to see him fight either one of these guys. He's got a great chance against either one of them just because of all the experience he brings in from professional boxing. I mean, he wasn't just a professional boxer, but he was at the top of his game in professional boxing. I mean, the kind of guys he fought were world champions.
He wants to try out for the not the Contender Series, the other one, the Ultimate Fighter. Now that's what he wants to do. Also, I think.
Oh, right.
I saw him say that. Yeah, and he's got that background. Also, we've spoken to him about his martial arts background. So
yeah,
he's a fighter. He'll fight anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere he can.
He's ready to do, and he knows what he's fighting for. He's got a great family, lovely family. He's got a business. He's trying to keep everything going. He knows what he needs.
Right. And if he were to get on the Ultimate Fighter, because he's a family man, because he's probably just going to be older than a lot of the guys there, he'll be a big hit on that show. Yeah. His personality. He's got a great personality. He'll do well on that.
Yeah. We'd get behind him on that. Love to see him do that. That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he might get he might go crazy living in the house with some of those other guys, but that's what it is. It is what it is.
Right. So I was gonna touch on a little bit of boxing stuff. I know we're gonna wrap up real soon, but you know, for so many months during this whole pandemic, obviously there hasn't been a lot of boxing. There've been a couple of boxing bubbles. We've got a couple of good fights out of it, but you know, Matt, you've seen a lot of these good fights. Steve, I'm sure you've seen some. There's been some really good fights lately. You know, some of the best. We're talking about the top guys have come out and fought, and those guys that haven't yet fought at the top of the month, at the top of the boxing whole thing, they're coming up. There's a lot of big fights coming up in the next 6 weeks.
Yes.
We're talking months from now. So, I mean, I just wanted to jump into some of the fights that did happen. Is, you know, the Teofimo Lopez and, you know, Vasily Lomachenko fight. Obviously, that was the biggest fight that really could have been made at that weight, probably in boxing.
Yes.
And, you know, it ended the way that it did. We want to see how Vasily can bounce back from that because we want to see a lot more of him, of course. You know, you got King Kong Ortiz, man, Luis Ortiz, you know, banging at 41 years old.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I forget how, I was on the subject before, but we were talking about some other things, kind of got sidetracked. We were talking about, I mentioned the jab that swole the guy's eye up, right? You know, and the thumb could have potentially done that. Well, it could have happened, but here's King Kong Ortiz with a fucking forearm that knocks the guy out. How about that? It wasn't even a punch, man.
Yeah.
His freaking arm hit the guy, knocked him out. The guy saw birds, saw stars, couldn't get his legs under him, and the fight was over 45 seconds. I would love to see, tell me what you think of this fight, Matt, Luis Ortiz and Alexander Povetkin. I want to see these guys go at it to see who comes out on top to then be in position to then fight one of the big boys for the belts. That's what I want to see. They're both over the hill, but they're both better than, you know, 75% of the guys.
What about Pulev?
20s.
What about Pulev in there? I want to see what happens with him.
Well, I got him on here because, you know, Pulev's got to fight with Anthony Joshua. And, you know, I had mentioned, you know, he because you were talking about, well, I guess I hadn't had the chance to talk about that. But, you know, I had a running bet with Tyrone Spong with that fight with Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev because, you know, Spong's like, there's no way, you know, that Joshua's going to lose that fight. What are you looking at? And I said, I'm not saying he's going to lose the fight. But if he looks past Pulev like he was looking past Andy Ruiz, he'll lose the fight.
He'll lose the fight,
Pulev,
yeah.
To me, Pulev is a better fighter than Andy Ruiz. You know, he may not have that spunk, but Pulev is taller, has a stronger punch. He's bigger. He's got a hell of a longer reach. I mean, he's a big dude. And the only fight he's ever lost was to Vladimir Klitschko, and that was however many years ago. I think has won like 6 years straight every fight that he's had since then. So Pulev's no joke. He's the guy people are looking past, and I'm excited. I've been waiting for this fight. That's December 12th coming up.
I know. I agree. Povetkin and Luis Ortiz are probably closer, you know, in terms of that stage in their careers. You know, that would be a good fight for both of them. So
I mean, they're both coming off impressive.
It'd be interesting, that's for sure. Yeah,
it would just be cool to see them. You know, what they've done and where they've been in their careers to come back and try to get that one last shot at a belt.
Yeah.
Their age, but who's the guy that's going to get it? Because they both can't get it. But one guy's going to get it. But it should just be an elimination bout, and that's the end of it. But
so
again, with the Pulev thing,
that's
really
great.
Something.
Yeah,
that's great.
We
got great show. Hour and 12 minutes of talking bare knuckle, talking boxing.
Yeah. Well, before you hang up with that, I was just
tune in tomorrow night.
Yeah, it seemed
Steve, you're cutting off Mike. Let him finish. Let the guy finish.
Yeah. Tyson Fury's got to.
Steve's got to go to the bathroom or something. So Steve, don't do what you got to do.
Hang on, I'm gonna ramble through it. All right. It's Tyson Fury, man. We all know who he is. Okay, he's fighting Ajit Kabayal, and he's fighting on December 5th. So you call it a tune-up fight, whatever you want to call it. But we're looking to see Fury back in action. Fury and Joshua have those 2 fights already signed for next year. That's why I said it's not going to be easy for Joshua to not look past Pulev to try to go into those big matches, but it could be a surprise in the making. And then, you know, we know what happened with Crawford. We talked about that. Shakur Stevenson's got a fight coming up here on December 12th. You know, he's trying to make it 13-0. We're looking to see what he could possibly do. And Canelo Alvarez, guys, we thought he was going to have a long legal battle with Golden Boy. Didn't happen. Golden Boy released him. Immediately he signed a contract. He's fighting Callum Smith, the super middleweight champ right now. So Canelo does not have a real belt at super middleweight, remember. It's a secondary belt. He's trying to fight for that belt where he's the secondary, and he's fighting undefeated, 27-0, Callum Smith. It's not going to be a fight that's going to be as easy either. I mean, Callum Smith, he can bang. That's going to be a great matchup between those guys. So
when?
That one, they haven't set a date on that one yet, but it's supposed to be sometime in December. So we're looking for maybe late December. They're trying to put the venue together. I know they want to have some fans there. They want to make sure they can make money off that one because obviously, Canelo Alvarez is looking for $30 million every fight. So they have to figure something out.
Right.
Hopefully they don't push it off because they finally got something. I know he wants to get back in the ring because he's made no money this year. He usually fights twice a year. He's looking for $60 million. He's made zero. So I think he wants to get back in the ring as soon as he possibly can.
We heard Xander Zayas, we're going to have that interview coming out. He said he was fighting sometime. It's early December. Everything's early. No one's fighting that last week of December, during Christmas and New Year's. Hopefully he'll be on one of those undercards. That would be a good night for him.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for a Mayweather Logan Paul to be announced, but that's supposed to be right
we're waiting for that.
So hopefully.
So
Matt, tell them who we got tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay, here's the upcoming show. So you guys that are taking notes, listen to this. Tomorrow night we have.
We've been on longer than an hour.
Talking. Would you shut your mouth?
So we have A1 Lugo tomorrow night. He's joining us. The Fighting News. Matt, you done?
Are you done? Stop talking. You keep cutting people off. We got a show to run here.
Show's over an hour ago.
Oh, God, Mike, man, help me out with this guy. Help me out with him. Tomorrow night, Jornell, A1 Lugo, we love him. He's just advanced his record again in Bellator. A closer fight than he's used to. I'm waiting to hear his words on that. Thursday night, we got Henry Revolta is back in action in the promotions. He's going to talk about his new ventures. And next week, we're setting up something with one of my friends from Brooklyn. All right, Lefty Guns, who comes out of that camp from the New York Cops and Kids, Teddy Atlas Cops and Kids camp. And he was a training partner, a sparring partner for Teofimo Lopez, and he's helping Danny Garcia get ready for his next fight. So he's an up-and-comer. And we're going to set up something with this guy as well as with his coaches. All right, one of whom was my student when I first started teaching middle school in New York City. So that's going to be a fun show. If Steve doesn't cut in every 2 seconds.
Make sure you don't have that rocking chair when you we interview these people, because you're rocking back and forth like
it makes
like a little kid, like a little kid.
Like they're on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ryan said that Jared's hand's not broken, so that's good. So he can be at the next fight next time. And you heard it here. You heard boxing. You heard bare knuckle. You heard upcoming events. Tune in tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. A1 Lugo. Any last words there, Matt?
Yeah. Good night, all.
Good night. Mike, any last words?
No, man. I just left off congratulations to Devin Haney and Tank Davis on their wins as well. I don't leave you guys out. Lightweight division is back again, guys. So, yeah, looking forward to the next show, guys.
They're watching right now, Mike.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They might be. Someone they know might be. That's for sure.
All right, let's go. You heard it here. The Fighting News. Follow us, as always, on Facebook, The Fighting News. Instagram, _fighting_news. YouTube,
you can read that
The Fighting News. Twitter, The Fighting News. And of course, as always, Mike posts great articles about all these fights on www.thefightingnews.com. Matt writes as well. Deuces.
Well said, Steve.